In the heart of western Sudan, a determined cricket named Karam embarks on a journey to complete its burrowing before an impending storm disrupts the tranquility of its world. As the storm approaches, Karam faces numerous distractions and obstacles that threaten to divert its focus from the goal at hand. This tale explores Karam's internal struggle, the chaos of the environment, and the ultimate triumph of perseverance and concentration. Through Karam's journey, we learn valuable lessons about staying focused amidst distractions, drawing inspiration from the quote, "The cricket is never blinded by the sand of its burrowing." In the midst of a vast, sunning plains of western Sudan, where the golden sands danced with the whispers of the wind, lived a small cricket named Karam. Karam was not just any cricket. He was known for his powerful determination, and under the sun, his vivid green wings glistened like emeralds. As the dry, hot season began to wane, Karam felt a sense of urgency. The clouds on the horizon hinted at an impending storm, and he knew he had to complete his burrowing before the first raindrops fell. Karam had spent weeks preparing for this occasion. He had meticulously chosen the perfect spot beneath a sturdy acacia tree, its roots providing a natural shelter. The burrow would not only protect him from the storm, but also serve as a sanctuary for the days to come. With each grain of sand he moved, Karam felt a sense of accomplishment. But as the storm clouds gathered, so did the distractions. "Hey, Karam!" called out his friend Heba, a lively grasshopper with a penchant for adventure. "Why don't you come join us for a game of tag? The wind is picking up, and it's going to be a blast." Karam paused, glancing at Heba and her friends, who were leaping joyfully across the sandy terrain. The laughter and excitement were infectious, and for a moment, Karam felt the pull of camaraderie. But he shook his head, reminding himself of his goal. "I can't, Heba. I need to finish my burrow before the storm arrives." Heba tilted her head, concern etched on her face. "But Karam, you can always burrow later. The storm might not even come." "Come on, just for a little while?" Karam felt a pang of longing. The thought of joining his friends was tempting, but he knew that if he didn't complete his burrow, he would regret it when the storm hit. "I appreciate the invite, Heba, but I have to stay focused," he replied, determination in his voice. As he returned to his burrowing, the wind began to pick up, swirling grains of sand around him. Karam dug deeper, his tiny legs working tirelessly. But the gusts of wind brought with them more than just sand. They carried the sounds of the world around him. The distant calls of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the laughter of his friends all tugged at his attention. Suddenly, a loud crack of thunder echoed across the plains, sending a shiver down Karam's spine. The storm was closer than he had anticipated. He quickened his pace, but just as he was about to push through the last layer of sand, a shadow loomed over him. It was Juma, the wise old tortoise, known for his slow and steady appearance. "Karam, my young friend," Juma said, his voice deep and soothing. "Why do you rush? The storm will come, but it is not here yet. Take a moment to breathe and enjoy the beauty around you." Karam looked up at Juma, who was basking in the fading sunlight. "I can't, Juma. I need to finish my burrow before the storm arrives. If I don't, I'll be exposed to the elements." Juma nodded, understanding the urgency in Karam's voice. "I see your determination, but remember, even the strongest winds cannot uproot a well-planted tree. Focus on your task, but do not forget to appreciate the journey." With that, Juma ambled away, leaving Karam to ponder his words. The cricket took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun on his back. He realized that while the storm was a threat, it was also a part of the cycle of life. He returned to his burrowing, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. As he dug, the wind howled louder, and the first drops of rain began to fall. Karam felt the coolness of the water on his back, but he pressed on, determined to finish, the sound of the sand shifting and the goal that lay ahead. He was a cricket on a mission, and nothing would deter him. As the rain began to pour, Karam felt the ground beneath him shift. The storm was fierce, and the winds howled like a pack of wolves. But he remembered Juma's words and found solace in his burrowing. He was creating a safe haven, a place where he could weather the storm. With one final push, Karam broke through to the other side of his burrow. He had done it. He quickly scurried inside, just as the storm unleashed its fury. The rain poured down in torrents, and the wind whipped through the trees, but Karam was safe and sound in his burrow. As he settled in, he listened to the sounds of the storm outside. The chaos of nature was a stark contrast to the calm he felt within his burrow. He had faced distractions, doubts, and the fear of the storm, but he had remained focused on his goal. Karam realized that the journey was just as important as the destination. Hours passed, and the storm eventually subsided, leaving behind a world washed clean and glistening under the sun. Karam emerged from his burrow, blinking in the bright light. The air was fresh, and the landscape looked different, rejuvenated by the rain. Heba spotted Karam and bounded over, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You did it, Karam. You finished your burrow just in time. We were worried about you." Karam smiled, his heart swelling with joy. "I did, and I learned something important today. Even when distractions come, it's crucial to stay focused on what matters most." Heba nodded, impressed. "You're right. The storm may have been chaotic, but you found your way through it. You're like a hero, Karam." Karam chuckled, feeling a bit bashful. "I'm just a cricket trying to make a home. But I think we all have our storms to face, don't we?" As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the landscape, Karam joined his friends in their playful antics. He realized that while the storm had been a challenge, it had also brought them closer together. They shared stories of their experiences during the storm, and Karam felt grateful for the lessons learned. That evening, as the stars twinkled above, Karam lay in his burrow, reflecting on the day's events. He had faced the storm, both literally and metaphorically, and emerged stronger for it. He understood now that distractions would always be a part of life, but it was his determination and focus that would guide him through. Morals of the story. Welcome to today's episode of Life Lessons from Nature. Today we explored the tale of Karam, the cricket, and his journey to complete his burrowing before a storm. Let's dive into the key morals of this story. Moral 1. Stay focused on your goals. Karam's determination to finish his burrow despite distractions teaches us the importance of staying focused on our goals. In life, we often face temptations and distractions that can lead us astray. It's essential to remember what truly matters and to keep our eyes on the prize. Moral 2. Embrace the journey. While Karam was focused on his goal, he also learned to appreciate the journey. Life is not just about reaching our destinations. It's about the experiences we gather along the way. Embracing the journey can lead to personal growth and deeper connections with others. Moral 3. Overcoming challenges. The storm represented the challenges we all face in life. Karam's ability to confront the storm head-on and find safety in his burrow symbolizes resilience. We all have storms to weather, but it's our response to those challenges that defines us. Moral 4. The value of community. Karam's interactions with Hiba and Juma highlight the importance of community and support. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, like Karam, we can all learn to navigate the storms of life with focus and determination. Until next time, stay inspired and keep burrowing toward your dreams.